guys, thank you so much for joining in today. I hope that this is going to be an insightful session for you. My name is Purti and I am the manager here for IELTS at Leverage Edu. So just to start you off, to help you understand why this session and who are we. So I'm sure a lot of you are already into, every day we are conducting these sessions online on various aspects of university admission to various countries and all that goes into it. And Leverage Edu provides you with help with everything around your applications, from selecting the colleges, the courses, which countries would be best suited for you, which courses are most sought after and booming, and in the future would provide you with lucrative job offers as well, and the kind of courses available in which countries, and currently what's the situation and how you're going to go about your study abroad journey. And a part of it is IELTS, which is a proficiency test, so English language exam. So since we are from a non-native speaking country, they want to ensure that we do have a certain level of English and that we will be able to manage and survive over there. Hence, they ask us as part of our application to also give this exam and ensure that we have a certain level of English. So they check you on 4 skills or 4 modules: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. One part of it, of course, we'll be talking about today. So there are various questions around these topics and they try to assess your level. And as a result, they give you your level of English based on certain band scores. The result comes out in the form of 1 to 9 band scores that you get. Anything above 6 or 6.5 is considered to be a very nice score because the universities ask for that. So 7 plus is definitely then the aim in all the 4 sections, and it is achievable. It's not a simple, straightforward exam, but which is why then we step into the picture, and at Leverage Edu, not just with your application, but also with your test prep, we are going to help you out. So in this session today, I'll be talking about listening and introducing you to what sort of questions and skills that they'll be testing for listening. Just to start you off, to tell you that this exam is conducted via online or the pencil paper, the traditional way. For both the kinds of exams, you will have to go to the test center and take it. So it's on a computer, all skills on the computer. If it's paper-based, so then you do it on the sheet. And speaking is something that is separate. So LRW, listening, reading, writing, this happens together. It's a continuous test. So the first skill that you will take up in the exam is listening, then reading, and then finally writing. 2.5 hours is the duration for it. And for speaking, you go to the test center and meet the examiner. So all of you joining in, so today we'll be talking about listening, which is the first skill that you come across, the first module that you will take up in the exam. Any sort of questions that you would have, please put it on the chat box. I'll keep referring to it. But Leverage Edu also has a separate, ecosystem for test prep, and a big part of it is IELTS as well. There's this website that I've put it on the chat box as well as here on the screen. If you visit it, you'd see something like this. Let me just show it to you, what you'd get to see on the screen. So you can look at various plans that we are offering for IELTS preparation and choose the one which you feel you'd go with. So just to tell you, give you a glimpse into what it is. So we have the regular batch, and then there's the fast track batch. Fast track, so you want to do it, like I was talking about previously, that you want to take up the admissions into this September intake. So then I think you still have time, but you'd have to work on it very quickly. So you can join the fast track batch. Here the classes would be done according to your requirements. So say at least 10 days or 15 days if you want to take it up quickly. So just the top skills and strategies and authentic practice material will be given to you for all the 4 skills. So the afternoon batch is meant for that. And then there are the regular classes. There are 2 types for it, morning and evening. So either you join the morning batch if that suits your convenience, or the evening one. And In case, you go for the evening batch or you're preferring that, so then these would happen over a period of 1.5 months. Every 3 days, the classes are held. So every alternative day. So either you can join the MWF batch or TTS batch. And of course, the batch size is small. They're no more than 15 to 20 students at a time in a batch. And all the 4 skills are covered up. Extra help, support materials, sectional tests, as well as full mock tests. And, when it comes to each individual part, all the study material I'm going to provide to you, of course, with the tips and tricks of how to go about doing it. And we do the practice in the live classes. So like we are here, you would meet me on the platform. You have a dashboard of your own, and all the material you'll be able to find there, all the test papers and all of that. And in case since you're here, the lucky ones, you go and check out the prices and you put this code to avail the discount. So you get a 40% discount on the classes. So you can check out whatever suits for you. And these are ongoing batches. Whenever the next skill starts, you're going to go for it. So I see some of you are asking me about the timings. Utsa, for now, this is the time. So for instance, half an hour before, half an hour after, that's the flexibility that we are currently providing. Same, same goes for all. No, Jennifer, so it's not compulsory, but of course we offer you, the first session for free. So first counseling session. So we have our experts dealing with all the courses in the top countries, Canada, New Zealand, Ireland, US, or UK, whichever you would want to go to, and you can speak to them. And the first session is always free. So you can, work around your application. And of course, nothing's mandatory. We are offering everything to you to make your journey smoother. So you can choose whichever you want to. Yes, Atish, so you can, contact either of these people. You have their phone numbers on the chat box as well as on the screen. And you can visit the website and just book, the class slot from there as well. And either of the case, you will get a 40% discount. Just remember this code. Yes, Kushminder, you'll find everything about the prices, and whatever it is there, you're getting a 40% discount on it. Okay, so I hope you guys will check it out. Remember this, keep the website with you. And Salman, definitely, it's getting the, how to get a good score or how to improve your band is to get the correct, authentic, guided practice from us, and then practice with whatever tips and strategies you're getting to for all the 4 skills. And just to tell you guys that even after the classes will be over, you will not lose touch with us, or rather with me. Even 1 month after the classes, you can keep sending me answers either for writing or say speaking or reading or listening, any problems that you have. And even after the classes are over, the interaction wouldn't end. So you do the practice, you get the help of vocabulary, of samples, of how to go about writing it, of the things that they are going to check you on, and get the authentic material and practice with it and get to your score. So I'm starting with the session now. Keep putting in any of your questions that you have either on Q&A or the chat box. We also offer general training courses, not just academic. So those of you who are planning for immigration or PR, we also take IELTS classes for that. So again, you can visit the website and find out more about it. So just starting with listening, for which we are gathered here today. Now, like I said, listening is the first module that you're going to take up. And this is basically that they will make you hear 4 audios and you have to mark answers based on it. All of these are objective type answers, and all of these are audios of everyday life, or let's say the academic setting. So, students are talking, professors are talking, or you have 2 or 3 people or 1 person talking about everyday issues. Everyday issues meaning, you're booking a ticket, you're booking a table at a restaurant, or you want to join a club, you want to join a membership, you want to talk about or want to know about some sort of excursion or a trip. So those are the kinds of conversation, you as in, I mean, the people talking. And those are the kinds of conversation that you will listen to and mark your answer based on those. Now, all these audios are only played once. Okay, so utmost concentration and attention has to be paid to when you're listening to the audios. 80% of these audios are always British accent, but it's not a heavy accent. Okay, the orientation is British, but something that even neutral, accented students or anyone from around the world can understand. Because remember, it's not just for Indian students. It's throughout the globe that people are looking and taking up this test. So they do give you the British accent, but not too heavy. And sometimes, 20-25% of the audios can also be Canadian or American. But again, the dialect is something that you would be able to understand. But having said that, of course, it's an skill, it's listening comprehension that they're testing, your ability to understand to native speakers and work with their pace and everything. So apart from the targeted practice that I will give you for IELTS, the kinds of questions you will get in IELTS, I would also ask you to go through some podcasts and listen to some TED Talks and videos, particularly for native speakers, so that you understand the nuances and the kind of connected speech that they use and not miss answers. So both the things would go hand in hand, not just practice here for IELTS question, but otherwise in general to upscale your listening ability also. So listen to as much of native English that you can. Any of the accent would work, so that you get in tune with the the pace of the speaker, or sometimes they pronounce certain letters which are different than Indian pronunciation. So hard sound, soft sound, so P, B, T, D. You need to understand the differences. So the better you listen to, the more you are familiar with the accent, the better your ability would go. Oh, Fazil, absolutely, absolutely. Listening to podcasts help. There are so many things involved in listening. They're listening for gist, there's listening for specific information, then there's listening ability, not just for the main content, but you'd also need to know when they move to the next point. So there are these words called signposting words, like now, let's move on, I also want to know, after this I'd like to know, the next thing you want. These are called signposting words, which they also use in IELTS. These recordings which they play, the audios which they play. So it's always better. Because remember, it's an English language test, right? So you're better, the more proficiency you have in the language, the better you do here in the test. So 4 audios in total will be played, and you have to mark 10 questions on these audios. So in total, you will be, by the end of the test, marking 40 answers. So remember, the audios are not played once, more than once, and you have to have complete concentration. But it's very interesting, you always challenge yourself with, I'm not going to miss it, I have to listen to it. And very interesting questions also they provide you with. So just taking you through what sort of audios they play. So first one is always a telephonic conversation between 2 people. So we need to know this, so then we are prepared to hear 2 voices. Could be 2 men, could be women, or a man or a woman, anyone. And they are talking about like all the social settings we discussed about. And based on their conversation, the question you always get is a fill in the blank question. So 1-word answers, 2-word answers, number as well that you have to include. The second one is one person talking. So it's a monologue. It's called a monologue, where one person speaks. And again, they are giving some information on a social topic. And you answer different kinds of questions here. It's not fill-ups that you get. You can get multiple choice. There are map questions. There are flowchart questions that you answer. But again, objective type answers. So marking alphabets, nothing more than that. Then comes to section 3 and 4, which is where the focus shifts to academic. So that means students are talking and you're talking about courses and study material and all of that. Section 3 is two students talking. It's always a boy and a girl. And they are talking about a presentation or a paper that they have to make. So, the answers are words related to it. Again, you can get fill in the blank questions here, one word, one number answer, not beyond that. And you can also have multiple choice, flowchart questions, matching questions here. There are only a handful of questions in listening that you'd have to try doing and get better at. And then is section 4. Now, this is part of a lecture which is paid. This lecture could either be by a professor, by a lecturer, or by a student. And the question type which always comes is a note completion. So again, a fill-up question. One word, two word answers that you would have to write. So two people talking in section 1, and then there's one person speaking in section 2. Again, two students talking section 3. You hear, in fact, it's always a girl and a boy. And then is section 4, where again, one person is speaking. So 2, 1, 2, 1. That's how you go about it. All the answers are objective type and the words which you already are familiar with. There's nothing, of a higher vocabulary or spelling that they'd ask you. But of course, things like, let's say the answer is diary and you end up writing DAIRY. So then of course it's going to be wrong. So spelling and grammar is also something that they check you on, which I'll just come to, not digressing from the topic. So this is the score chart that you have to keep in mind. And trust me, listening is the most scoring section in all of IELTS. You have to and you must aim for 8.5 or above in order to get to it. So otherwise, just keep this in mind. This is the scoring chart that you would have. I want you to go through it. So keep in check, these many answers you correctly mark, so you would be able to get a band score up to this much, and definitely a band 9 is achievable, especially in listening. So let's aim for that only. All right, I'll get to your questions also in a second. So the problems, which students face while doing the listening tests, especially for IELTS, is that they're not using listening skills. Like I mentioned, listening for gist, listening for specific information, listening for that particular detail. Depending on the kind of question, you've got to ignore certain things and only look for a particular word in your answer. So employing listening skills would help you to, avoid, or you're more likely to score if you employ these skills. And of course, while doing the practice, we talk about all of this and what to listen for and which type of question. Second is not following the instruction. Now, this seems a bit silly or pretty straightforward, but you'd be surprised as to how many marks students lose just because they're not following the instructions. I'll also show you what sort of instructions they give and what I mean by this. Not understanding the question and the information required. So, if they're asking me to write the answers as letters and I end up marking the alphabet, the words instead of the alphabet. So even though technically my answer would be correct, but they'll give me a 0 for it. So you need to understand in what way they're asking you to mark the answer. Plus, just to give you this tip, that all answers in listening are always nouns. So different kinds of nouns, but they're not verbs. Hardly ever adjectives. In fact, you have to remove adjectives. So mostly it is nouns. So that gives you an idea into what your answer could be. And getting confused by synonyms, double negatives, hesitations. Something that you should know before you end up taking your real test is that whatever language that they're using in the questions, they will not use it in the same, in the audio. They'll always give you synonyms for the same. For instance, suppose in my question I have, let me put it on the chat box, in fact. You would understand better. So for instance, I have dash is given for free? So that's my question. Now I have to fill in the blank. I have to fill this gap, right? From the instruction, of course, I'll get to know which kind of word it is. Is it going to be a one-word answer, a number, one word or number? So I'm prepared for that. So in the audio, they're not going to simply say, for instance, my answer is water. So they're not going to say, water is given for free. In fact, they'll use paraphrases or synonyms, but they'll give you the same idea always. So, the one person asks me, will I get water there? So the other person says, oh, yes, you can. And there's no extra cost for it. So they're not saying it's for free, but by saying that there's no extra cost for it, meaning that it is included in your package or it is free or whatever they have been talking about. So a mistake what students do is, they identify keywords from the question and try to listen for that. But it is a given that you're not getting it. You will not get it. So don't be on a lookout for the same words, rather the same idea. So be open to listen to, the same idea, not just same words. Always, all 40 answers will come to you in paraphrases. You will not get the same language. And of course, if you have a range of vocabulary, it's a bit easier for you. But this skill of listening to synonyms and what kind of words they might use, you can also practice with this targeted practice of IELTS. And we do that in the class. Then next is not filling the answer sheet accurately. Now, like I mentioned before, somebody also asked me, either you take it on the computer or you mark it on the sheet. If you go for the paper-based test, there's no difference at all. I'm sure a lot of you have this question, which one is easier, which one is difficult. There's nothing like that. If you are comfortable with marking answers on the computer, go for it. If not, go for the traditional paper-based. Don't take that extra pressure on you of, doing something which others are doing. Be comfortable in whatever your strengths are and play with that. So in either of the ways that you're marking your answer, and in case like I said, grammar has to be taken care of or spelling has to be taken care of. So when you're marking your answers, either on the sheet or on the computer, see that you don't have any typing errors or you don't have any grammatical errors, punctuation errors as well. So a tip again that I'll give you here is to write all your answers in capital letters. What I mean is all the letters in my word, the alphabet has to be capital. So for instance, my answer is book. So I'm putting on the chat box here. So instead of just writing the first letter as capital, I write everything in caps. If I write it in this way, if my first letter is capital, so grammatically, it's not going to be correct because it's going to be in the middle of a sentence. Even if hardly you get the blanks in the beginning of the sentence, it's always in the middle or in the end. That's also one thing. But if I write this, then even though technically my answer is book, they will give me a 0. So either I go for all capital or I go for here, all small. Yes, definitely. But in listening especially, if you have proper nouns as your answer, so let's say the answer is John, and you do get that in listening. And if I write this in all small, so again, because grammatically it's not correct, so they are going to give me a 0 for it. So just to avoid this confusion, which answer to write as capital or which answer to write as small, write everything in block letters. So even if you're going for paper-based test, handwriting-wise also, this is a good thing to remember. Yes, for reading also, because in a lot of questions you also have to mark letters A, B, C, D. So that anyway you have to mark capital. If you write those as small, again it's a 0. And of course, the last thing for low scores is not understanding the accent or the pace is more of the speech, which is why I told you at the beginning, not just targeted practice for IELTS, but also listening to podcasts and all of that. which of course the good ones, the ones which will be helpful, I will share the links with you. Jennifer, you might, you're asking me the consequences without any prep. You're taking a risk, you know. You might end up getting a low score and you'd have to take it again. So it's always better to be prepared, you know, at least what are you going to face on the exam day, how you have to write the answers, how you can better your answer and not get wrong answers, all of that. Always preparation, it's an exam, right? I'm sure a lot of exams you've taken until now. So similarly, this is one part of it. There's no limit on it. You can take the exam as many times as you can. But of course, when you come here with me, I ensure that you're taking it for, in one go only. That's the aim always. Okay, Utsa, currently it's 14,750 in India, but hopefully they don't increase it anytime soon. By the way, British Council is no longer taking IELTS after July. So all of you will have to book your test through IDP now. So there's no discrepancy there now. Okay, so now coming to, we now know what are the mistakes that we might end up making. So this is now how you actually end up attempting the listening tests and what do you have to do. So the first step, of course, to avoid this mistake is to read the instructions carefully to know how we are going to mark the answer and what do they mean by when they say one word and or a number. And that is the next thing I'm coming to after this. And then the next thing is read the question and trying to predict. Now, this is something which will help you in section 1 and 4, where you have fill in the blank questions. So you can anticipate or guess what kind of word is going to be your answer. So for instance, putting it on the chat box again, suppose the question says that, these are the books that we have introduced for, and they give you a dash after it. Now, because I have the word for given, that means it has to be for a certain group of people. These books for women, girls, toddlers, or it could be for adolescents or teenagers, whosoever they call. But I know that it is going to be for a group of people, some persons. So when I'm listening to the audio, I'm better prepared to hear which group of people will they talk about. So if I anticipate, this is the kind of answer that I'm going to have, I am able to better listen to that word because now I'm mentally prepared for that kind of word I'm getting. So this, of course, is not possible for every question, but for first and fourth section, and even in the third section, when you're getting fill in the blank. So any sort of fill up question, this would go. Okay, then is, employing the listening skills, depending on which kind of question, the listening skills differ, and we talk about this in the classes. And the next thing is to remember that they are giving everything to us as synonyms and paraphrases. So being prepared for that and understanding it, like the example that we just talked about. The next part is writing when you're transferring answers in the end, or when you're typing the answers side by side as the audio is playing, paying attention to the instructions, of course, and numbers or numericals and all that. For instance, suppose the answer they give me is a number. They give me the cost of something. My answer is $230. It's always better that I write my answer as this, the numerical, so 230, instead of going for words, $230. Dollars, of course, is always mentioned, the symbol. So you only have to write the number. So why I'm saying this, go always for numbers is, if you go for 230, that means 230, you're writing 4 words and you never get that instruction. So you might end up risking going beyond your word limit, your word count. And of course, they're going to penalize you for that. They will cut marks. So for numbers, always go with numericals. Even if my answer is, let's say 20. If I write 20, that is considered correct. If I write the spelling, because one word answers of course are there, so that will be considered correct. But again, when sometimes we are in a hurry and we end up forgetting things. So we don't remember that we have to write numbers not as words but as numericals. So from the first go, you start with the practice, write numbers as numbers only. And in the end, again, transferring spellings, typing errors, or grammar, so capital letters or singular, plural, especially for fill in the blank questions, see that from the context of the sentence, you see whether a singular word will fit or a plural word will fit. And even if you were not able to hear it in the audio, you can always mark the correct answer based on the sentence. Sometimes both are valid, singular, plural, so then you can write any. They'll not cut marks for it. Okay, now quickly taking you to the instruction part. So these are the different ways, in which they can give you the instruction. Most common is the first and the second one. So if they say no more than 3 words or no more than 2 words, so then let's say, your answer is a sturdy chair. So even articles or prepositions are considered to be a word, separate word. So a sturdy chair there are 3 words, or you write a chair, 2 words, or write 1 word chair, everything is correct, but you can't go beyond this. If you have 1 word and or a number, right? So like in 1956, this is a word and 1956 is a number. Or you just write 1956, or you write 2, second, third, in whichever form I've given you. Everything is considered correct. So this happens when they ask you, in the first section for date of birth. So suppose they say, 2nd June is the date of birth, 2nd June, right? So either I can write it, I'm putting on the chat box again. Either I can write it like this, 2 June, that is, or I write June 2, or I write 2 ND June. All of these are considered correct. You can write it any which way that you want. But if, let's say, I write this, the last one I have sent, where J is not capital. So even though technically my answer is correct, but they're not giving me marks for it. So grammatically, which is why if I go for all capital, I am avoiding all these kinds of unconscious errors also that I might have. Hence writing everything. Utsa, like I said, any format you follow, okay? So no best format. They don't prefer anything. They're not going to award you extra marks for one kind of writing. So just go with whatever. So following the instructions, of course, is something that you would have to keep in mind when you're writing the answer. Yes, every answer, all block letters, go for it. Okay, so like one of the other questions, very common one, fill in the blank, I've told you in section 1, 3, 4. 1 and 4, it's compulsory that you will get it. You can also get it in section 3. So that's how they're going to give it, and they'll give you the instruction as well. So always predicting, reading the question before the audio is played. They give you time for it. They give you 30 seconds to read questions. So reading it, predicting, anticipating what the answer could be. Also identifying these, keywords in the answer, in the question rather. So for instance, my first question, they say express train leaves at. Now, because I have at, it has to be a time. It's not going to be anywhere else. So some form of time will be. So either I write it, I'd be okay with it. Or I write 8:30, 8:30, everything would be correct. So always saying, predicting what the answer could be, what kind of word it is going to listen to it. Then another type of question we have is, it's called the map question. There are certain things that we have to identify, certain places that we have to identify on the map. We have these letters marked and they give us directions. So go from this point, turn left, it's on your easterly direction towards the west of the plan or the map, so on and so forth. It is, beyond the gate, walk past the gate and it's on your right. These are the things they give you. So for map questions, direction words is something that we look into, that we should know. And another thing is prepositions. So it is beyond, beside, next to, opposite to, across, at the junction, intersection. These are the things, the vocabulary around map questions are these which we practice with, and of course we have to keep in mind. Of course, prediction wouldn't be very accurate for these questions, but as much as possible, then looking at problematic areas is something that we do. Confusion points, I have two letters marked near the same area. So if they take me to that, could it be this one or that one? I have to be prepared for that. So that sort of prediction or guesswork works here for map questions. Okay, now I'm just, before we move on, looking at certain questions. Akash, yes, you can write it as numerical, so 8:30 would work. Nobody would challenge you for it. Or my point was that, because the word limit is permitting you 8 past 30, they'll not cut your marks for it. But you're right, like I've mentioned, go for 8:30. AM, PM, they usually mention, but even if you don't write it, it works. If you write it, that also it's okay, if it is in tune with your word limit. No issues. Okay, Swayam, would you be providing Cambridge guided notes? Definitely. And not just that, other sources as well, but Cambridge tests, latest ones, the ones which have come up in this month also, everything is provided. Jenna, the price, it depends on the kind of course you'll be taking. So I have shared this website. I'll show you right now also by the end of the session, the website that you can refer to, and you can go and find out the prices. And because you are here today in this session, the lucky one, you can also avail for a 40% discount. So for different courses, we have different batches depending on your need, and you can go for that. And then whatever the price is, you get a 40% discount on it. Okay, yes, spellings are something that you would have to keep in mind, while you're writing the answer. Because, sometimes just because of this silly error, we lose marks from a band 8, let's say, we fall down to a band 7 or 6.5, just because grammar or spelling or the word instruction we are not keeping in mind. So in the classes, I'll keep a check and keep letting you know the things that you're doing wrong or right. Prerna, after playing the audio, you're asking me how much time you'd have to solve the questions. So it's actually with the audio. So what happens before the audio, they'll give you time to read the questions. In the middle of the audio also, some questions you read, answer those. Then some, again, before that you read, get 30 seconds and mark. And again, after that one section is over, they give you 30 seconds to check your answers. So you have to mark your answers side by side, simultaneously. The questions will be there on your screen or in front of you in the booklet when the audio is playing. After all of this is done, after 30 minutes of all 4 audios are done, they will give you 2 minutes of time to check your answer. So all 40 answers you can check there. Any typing error, any answer you might have missed, or just to go back and see that you've done everything. In case of paper-based tests, you have to transfer the answer into an answer sheet. So they give you 10 minutes for that. So when the audio is playing, you will mark your answers on the sheet, on the question paper that you're getting. And then you get 10 minutes, which is more than enough time that you're getting. And you will transfer all 40 answers into it. So that time they give you. Jennifer, is it you want to go? Not really. All the English speaking countries that you want to go to want IELTS exam as a proof of your proficiency in the language. So you can take it. The score is valid for 2 years, So even if while after taking it, you need some time to figure out, and of course our experts, our counselors are going to help you with that. You can take some time, and the same test is valid in all the countries. So yeah. Yes, Anjali, they give you an option of a pen. For listening and reading, you don't have an option. You can only use a pencil, and you of course have to take erasers and sharpeners and a lot of pencils with you. And for writing, if you're going for the pen paper exam, they give you the option of using a pen. But of course, I would recommend that you go for a pencil. The editing is easy, and striking off with a pen doesn't look neat. So using a pencil. So what I said related to British Council, it's not accepting. They will no longer conduct the test. IDP has taken over British Council for conducting the paper. So after July, so those of you who have already booked it till July 31st, 30, whatever is the date, they will take it. You will be able to take it from the British Council. After this, post this, you can only book it from IDP. They are the conducting bodies now. So absolutely, Shabina, we give scholarship opportunities. In fact, Leverage Edu has come up with a fantastic scholarship program. Do check out the website, for Leverage Edu also, and you can speak up to counselors. The first session is free, and you can get to know about up to 5 crores the scholarship is for. Okay, so do check out the website for the same. Okay, negative marking, no, Sahil. There is no negative marking. It's either a 0 or a 1, which is why I always recommend that you write all 40 answers. Make a guess for some answers that you don't have to get to. Yes, Nitin, yes, you can, at this level also. So you can actually get to know which kind of, which universities with good courses, of course, are accepting this. And definitely then try getting a good score in IELTS so that you can leverage your application over other students. But like I said, you can speak to about counseling from our experts. They'll be able to guide you better. Okay. Vidisha, so you're asking me when we should take IELTS. Actually, it depends on your individual ability also. If you feel that you are at an intermediate level, so that means average level, you have good listening skills, basic English grammar is okay, you want advanced grammar now, or you want that particular structure in writing because very strict they are about writing, or you want specific strategies. So I think this 1 month course or 6-week course would work for you. And then let's leave 15 days for self-practice and getting better at, let's say, one kind of skill that you won't be, if you're not good at, working on it. So 2 months, I think, is a good enough time period. If, of course, you're planning for, let's say, the next September, January intake. So, of course, you have 3 months also in hand. Next year, September intake, you have more months in your hand. So the better you get at it, the more proficient you are in the language, the better you will get at. So time limit, you would depend, once you join with me, I'll be able to tell you exactly how much time you need. And of course, we always choose it after talking to us, after discussion. For you particularly, it's not with other students, it's just for you. But I think minimum 1.5, 2 months, 1 to 2 months. Kaushik, this 40% discount is for the entire course, all the 4 modules included, everything that comes with it. Handwriting matters, so that's what you're asking me. Handwriting matters only if you are, there's a huge, let's say, problem with handwriting. It is not legible to the examiner. So instead of A, E or O is, that sort of thing you're marking, or R sometimes looks like an N for some students. So in that case, yes, they can count it as a spelling error, which is why, again, you would be able to. No, Payal, I have few things more to tell you. Last thing, then I'll move forward. So which is why I'm telling you that you move to block letters and capital letters so that there's no problem with handwriting. Okay, moving on. Like Payal is waiting for it. Another type of question is multiple choice questions. So, there are two kinds of questions you'll get here in multiple choice, subtypes of them. So you have where you have to choose one letter, and then there are where you have to choose, I think, three, or always, usually now what you get is marking two correct options out of five. So here what they do is they talk about a lot of things together. So we identify keywords from the question, we eliminate the wrong ones, and then we mark the correct answer. This is also paraphrase. Signposting words help a lot in this kind of question. Identifying keywords, anticipating synonyms also help in this one. And of course, all of these questions, I'm just telling you what sort of questions you will get. All of these we do in the classes as well. So while marking the answer now, keeping everything that we have discussed today, instruction, what sort of question it is, don't mark the wrong answer for a certain question, writing everything in capital letters, spelling errors for these common words, there, effects. Just to give you an example of, the ones you can have problems in, but hyphenated words is something, these are considered as one word answers. So suppose self-employment or self-employed is my answer. If I don't put hyphen in between, this will be considered as two words. So in my instruction, if they say one word answers, so they'll give me a 0 for it, which is why, well prepared or self, this is always our hyphenated word. So you have to keep this in mind. And any sort of contractions you can't mark. There won't be in, these kinds of words in your listening answer also, but no contraction, full word only. So if let's say government is the answer, you don't have to write govt dot. Always go for the full word. So just letting you know. So this is the link that you guys can go to check out various courses that we have. You can call up these people and find out more about it as well. I'm putting it on the chat box. Keep the code in check. This is the code that you can use to get 40% discount. You can check out the various courses that we have. This is the screen. Once you go to this link, this is what you're going to look at. You can view our plans, which I talked about here. So morning batch, evening, fast track if you want to do it early. Fast track, I would only recommend that if you have, upper intermediate level and you just need advanced level language for all the 4 modules. Otherwise, what I would recommend is to go for morning or evening batch, whatever time suits you. And morning batches are Monday to Friday. For speaking sections, we have it separately on Saturday for you individually. It's not in a batch. These are batch classes, but not beyond 20 students with attention given to you. And I am the one taking it. If you want, 40% discount on the course, don't forget to use this code, just a simple 5-letter thing that you have to put in to avail the course, or you can call up these people and find out more about it as well. For counseling, I've already told you, Leverage Edu will help you, and we make it very easy for you. I see some of you are asking me for, you're from this college or you are wanting to go to a certain university. You can find out everything about it by talking to our experts. Find out, the first session is free. Find out which college or university would be good for you. Even if you have a certain percentage, wouldn't matter. The experts will guide you to which, what sort of strategy would work for you. Scholarships also, which courses, how to get about going in your applications. LORs, SOPs, interview also practice is given to you. And then of course is test prep. Yes, there is a more than 1 month batch. The evening batch, just need, this is for 6 weeks, so 1.5 months. And I've told this before as well, even after these courses are over, we don't stop the interaction. You and I will be linked together. You send me the answers for 1 month after your courses as well. Speaking answers, you send me the recordings for feedback, and for writing answers, the essays and task 1 questions, all of that. Lancia, I would tell you, I'll give you a list once you come to me, the ones which are the most useful. This fees, Rachita, is for IELTS, the course, till you take your exam. 1 month for this, and then for the other one. Sectional study Utsav, for instance, if you don't want help with the entire module, you want only, let's say, writing, or you want just speaking. So you guys can also enroll for that. So you will be put in a batch wherever that is, currently going on, and you can only go for one kind of module or skill that you want help with. Yes, Harsh, it is. And, it's a very specific, again, there's a very specific way of going about it. You need to be very clear, and there's a structured way of writing it, which our experts are going to help you with. So LOR, SOPs, everything. Counseling is separate, yes. And the first session is free. First session is free. So you can talk about what your situation is particularly, what are your dreams and aspirations, and work accordingly with the experts. Harsh, like I said, for the rest of your application, you can speak to the counselors over call. Especially for you, they're going to guide you, not just a generic thing. So you can explain your situation to them. Cost for IELTS exam is 14,750 presently in India. You can visit the website leverageedu.com and call us up. Okay, I'm checking Q&A for now. Yes, Harsh, books, updates, websites that I will provide you. You guys would not have to worry about authentic material or the number of questions that you would get. I would take all that headache for you and give it to you. Language, samples, vocabulary, everything I'll provide you. Zainab, which scholarship form are you asking for? What Leverage Edu is providing? So it's on the website only. You go to the website Leverage Edu, and there are different sections that you can figure out. There's a one tab for scholarships also, which you can check out and fill the form there only. They give you the instruction. It's a step-by-step thing. You get to know everything there. Shweta, I sent the link on the chat. Currently, they are taking a paper-based test in certain centers only, but mostly they are going for the online computer-delivered tests. Prerna, for any university, the minimum you should aim for is a 6.5. So which is why 7 or above is something that we aim for and we target and get. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining in today. That is it from my side today. So checking out the website and availing this discount and coming to us. Take, the class or talk about to the people by contacting on the phone numbers and take up whichever would be suitable for you. And I hope I'll be able to help you. I know I'll be able to help you with it. And you can join the class by look at the website here that I've put it on the chat box. And on the Leverage Edu website, you would be given a separate dashboard and portal for you. And all the classes and the material will be provided to you from my side. And thank you so much for coming today. I hope it was helpful. There are more tips and more practice also, which of course I'll tell you in the classes, but stay tuned for this phase. Every day we are conducting online sessions, live sessions on various aspects of your study abroad applications. And I know some of you are attending. I see some of you also coming here to my sessions regularly. Thank you so much. I want you to join the classes. They would be even more helpful to you. So hopefully see you there. Thank you. Bye-bye.